Everybody, this is the Dr. Nick's Amazing Man Stuff YouTube channel. Want to say thank you for checking this show out. Thank you for checking the channel out, whether you have been returning or you're new coming from Command's Corner last night. We appreciate you guys on your way in. As always, if you could hit that thumbs up, it does help out. And this show is called Doctor's Orders. We have this every Tuesday, 1 p.m. Eastern, and it's just simply to pull back the curtains and show what's going on with this company, what's going on with the owners, the products, and we call it long form transparency. And I say we because my name is Dan C. Bearded, and I'm the host of this show. And my job is to kind of highlight what is going on and kind of distribute the information and let the Nick and the products and Jill kind of shine. And so today, you guys, we have a special show. We're going to talk about the value of community feedback. So keep that on your mind. We usually have like a little introduction, kind of catch up with everybody. And over here, this busy man has had a marathon today and will continue to have a marathon. But this is Nick, the doctor of time and space himself. Or is it space and time?
Time and space.
Okay, nailed it. Time and space. Time and space. Nick, how you doing on this beautiful Tuesday?
I'm doing great. Like you say, man, I'm jamming today. I feel like I literally went straight from Command's Corner last night with you guys, most of you here, and of course this awesome dude next to me over this way. I literally feel like I think I left that, started my first call this morning, and I've just been going ever since. I can't really tell where in there I got some sleep in, but I'm assuming it was somewhere. But man, I could definitely. I wish I was like wish the Doctor of Time and Space came with toys, like maybe like a time machine or a clone, or for all you Doctor Who fans out there, maybe like a TARDIS, right? Like I'd take a TARDIS. That'd be pretty sweet.
Somebody asked that in the comments last night when I said you were the Doctor of Time and Space. They asked about the TARDIS.
Well, I'm working on it.
Yeah, I just didn't want to pronounce it wrong because I wasn't super sure, but now that I'm confirmed, so we're good.
Imagine that.
Yeah, it could get slippery. Right? And Garrett
thought it wasn't the last name.
I had some tough one. Don't get me started on that, like RDGG or whatever that was. Those consonants should not go together in an English name. That was too challenging.
That was a lot of D's and G's and stuff. It almost made you feel like you had extra teeth when you were trying to pronounce it.
Exactly. And Garrett, no new microphone. Hopefully it sounds good. If you're asking because it sounds better, I did absolutely nothing. But if it sounds worse, I also did nothing. So yeah, nothing here. Check. Shout out to everybody coming in. Some familiar faces. We got some new people that I haven't seen on the show before. I think you guys will enjoy this. And there's a lot of stuff planned. We have some really cool things to talk about in the next couple of weeks. Probably going on a little virtual tour in a little bit. So stay tuned, you guys. Every Tuesday, I think you guys will really, really enjoy this. And it's been definitely, you get to kind of get my like schedule and flow. Every Monday I go late, of course, and I have 3 kids that get up for school. Well, the boys do, and they wake Violet up. So I never, ever get any sleep past 6:45. And I know a lot of people are like, I go to work at 4 and stuff. Well, when my stream gets done at 11:30, then I got to shut everything down. I got to decompress and try to like bring my dopamine level down to sleep. You start seeing that clock and you play that game that I know all of you play where you're like, okay, if I fall asleep right now, I can get 5.5 hours of sleep.
5 hours. Okay. Now I'm down to 4.
Yep. Yeah. Okay, shoot. Okay. Right now, if I fall asleep, I get 4 and you start going through. Yeah, absolutely. And Jeremy says, I'm surprised you got my name right last night when I won. Usually mispronounced. Yeah, I told you, I blame it on your parents. They spelled Jeremy wrong, but I got it right now. I know how to pronounce it correctly, but I still blame your parents on spelling. Man, the concept of like spelling, especially as a teacher, when I was teaching, do you know how many versions of Ashley there are?
So many. Interesting part of that question, though. How many versions of Ashley existed pre-2018 versus how many versions of Ashley exist now?
Nuts. Absolutely.
I feel like that's got to be like a quantum leap in the amount of names that just the spelling of names I see. And you as a teacher, I mean, dear God, you're seeing the waves of them come through. So it's like you're getting the trends of the names as they're moving through the ages.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's so interesting. And
It's
then
like Dustin with an A and a G and a silent
yeah,
X. What
GH and that's crazy. My favorites, I swear, during the pandemic, I had students that had siblings, and I'm telling you, the parents didn't plan the names and started naming them based on things that they saw in the hospital room, in the delivery room. And I'm not joking. I'll give you a few
the-
examples. I had a Kleenex as a student. Do you have a guess if it was a male or female?
It got to be a female,
It
right?
was a female. Yeah, it was a
Okay.
female.
I had to
And
think about that one for a minute.
yep. And the student that I had, I'm not going to say their name, but the student I had, totally normal name. And they're like, "Oh my gosh, my sister was born." I'm like, "Oh, so cute. What's their name?" And they're like, "Don't laugh, Mr. Command. It's Kleenex." And I go, "Oh, okay, got it. Yeah, got it." And there was a couple, like one was the name of a like TV brand, a TV brand. It wasn't Samsung, but it was something like that. And I'm like, "Oh my god." Like unbelievable. So yeah, the names are pretty good. Yeah, exactly. Vado's his school had Chevy and tequila a few years ago. I had Christmas. I've told this before, but I've had Christmas. I've had Juicy. I've had a couple of really good ones.
Juicy.
Juicy was my favorite. First day of
That's the
school.
one you want your kid growing up with, right?
Uh-huh.
I mean, that's just setting things up for success. Like, you always got to think about, like, am I naming my kid something where I could see them on a press release as the CEO of an airline? Our new CEO, Juicy. And it's like, how much closer to the movie Idiocracy are we going to get before we're realizing that we're just living in Mike Judge's alternate reality? And soon our president's name is going to be President Camacho, and the biggest sports star is going to be Beef Supreme.
Oh, it's dude. And like the first day as a teacher, you got to go through roll. You don't know any of these kids. And I get up to them. This is not her last name, but imagine this is the last name. And I'm reading and I go, I'm going to say Jay Williams. Jay Williams. She raises her hand and literally looks at me with side head attitude, goes, "It's Josie." And I was like,
It's Juicy.
And I go, "All right, Juicy, it's nice to meet you. I'm Mr. Command." And then I kept going. So yeah, it was something. So I feel like that when I'm doing Commands Corner sometimes, and I'm trying to read these names. I'm like, goodness, like we got so many different spelling on these names.
Imagine being like a video game Twitch celebrity and you were dealing with like, current, like kids' names. Like, thank God at least you're dealing with names that are a few generations older than some of the ridiculous ones, at least.
For sure.
Like, man, trying to announce the names of your Twitch viewers.
Oh,
like I can just LaShawn. Oh, okay. Oh, why does it have dashes? Okay.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So now that we got that out of the way, everybody in the chat, drop a comment on how you're doing. We got Nick. I'm doing great. Kind of crazy day today too. Got some super sexy stuff like getting our dryer vent cleaned out after the stream at 3:00. Yeah. Ooh. That adult life, they're gonna get in there.
So, you gotta get that lint.
Oh yeah, gotta do that. And I love being an adult. The things that you get to buy, and it's like you get some of it you even get excited about.
Oh yeah. Like, okay, so can we talk about that for a minute?
Yes, please.
The things that maybe shouldn't excite you and make you realize that you're dangerously close to 40
right.
is okay. So, we're backed up against wetlands, kind of. We got like a nature preserve behind our house. So we get lots of mosquitoes. And I don't know if you guys know this, but mosquitoes nest like 20 feet up in the tree line, right?
What?
So, yeah. Mosquitoes nest like wherever you look at a tree, you look at the first couple of branches that are on a tall tree. Right up above that is where mosquitoes like to be. So one of the things you can do in your yard, for example, is you can trim your trees above headline. And that keeps the mosquitoes above your head. Right. So people, if you have lots of trees, if you keep the tree lines up, mosquitoes typically don't go much below their nesting level, which is interesting. I didn't know that. The problem with us is our backyard drops off down to this preserve, down a pretty sizable cliff, kind of a hill cliff kind of thing. I don't know what you want to call it. It's a big ass hill. And so our eye level from our backyard is about 30 feet up in the trees that are at the bottom of the hill. So we're like prime feasting territory for these guys. So we've always been doing like Mosquito Shield or, Mosquito Ranger, like one of those services that comes out and they blow all the repellent all over with the big backpack blower and stuff. And then my neighbor got signed up with it, and they'd start spraying us on the same day so that we could kind of have like a dual defense mechanism going on.
Yeah.
And so I was paying like $800 a year for a season, and my neighbor was paying like $800 a year, and they wouldn't give us a package discount. So I'm like, this can't be. I can buy this stuff. So we went on. I found their brand of backpack fogger, and all the chemicals, all the natural additives that you want, lemongrass and the garlic, all that stuff, and then the permethrin like you use when you're camping. And we bought it all in bulk and got it all in. I think we spent, for like 2 years worth of chemicals and the machine, I think we spent $600 and we split it. So
between you, nice.
300 each, and then we're good now for 2 years, and then we just buy more chemical. And so like me and my neighbor are sitting there in the garage, and we're like looking at the blower, and we're like, well, good thing we got the turbo blower, because that's got that extra fluid line that comes down there, and it's got the centrifuge, and it pressurizes it before it comes out, before the air even hits it, and particleizes it.
Oh man, stuff.
And then we're sitting around and we crack a beer and we just kind of stand there and nod at it. And we're like, we should not be this excited about this backpack blower right now. Like Jack runs out, like he's my barometer if I'm being old or not, my son. So Jack comes out, he's like, what are you guys doing? And I'm like, man, check this thing out. And I show him, he's like, cool.
Gone.
And I'm like, yeah, okay, this is boring and we're old.
That's so funny. So funny. The dad standing around admiring stuff.
Oh yeah, it was. It's like we were like pointing at it. You're like, yeah, look at that. Looks like that's pretty well made. Yeah, like that.
Great design.
Look how they got two hose clamps around that gas. Yeah, that thing's not going to leak.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. The Tim Allen growl. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, so good. Tim Allen's a Michigan legend for several reasons. One of the biggest being the trouble he got into in college when he was at Western Michigan University. If you guys don't know what I'm referring to, let's say he was a salesman for a white substance.
Okay.
And got
that
arrested.
Makes sense, because he got in trouble later in life for that same white substance.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. Western Michigan, row the boat, go Broncos. Michigan legend. But so we have an ad campaign in Michigan called Pure Michigan, and it's like this real soothing ad, like go see the sand dunes. It's Tim Allen's voice.
Is it really?
Yeah. Yep. Jason said he's got a funny story about that. I believe it. Jason, next time we hang out, you gotta hit me with that one. But Nick, I got 2 questions for you before we get the show started, because I believe we got a lot of new people in here. We have some of our biggest numbers ever right now, which is amazing. And thank you guys for checking this show out. We're very proud of it. And so 2 questions. First one is for somebody that is new here. I kind of gave my spin on what this show is, but I think they would love to hear from your words. Doctor's Orders, we're 35 episodes in with never missing. What is this show to you and to this company? What is like the goal? What is the rollout? However you would explain it to someone that's never watched the show before.
Okay, I'm going to answer that with an analogy. So like, imagine a house, right? You got your garage, you got your garden shed, you got your kitchen, everyone's got their own bedrooms, right? Maybe. And then you got like your living room, right? You got your family room. So when everyone's done doing their stuff in the separate places and everyone's going to come together and sit around and talk about the day, talk about it. This is the Dr. Nick's living room. This is, and you guys are all invited because you're part of the family. And this is where we all get to sit down and talk about what's going on, talk about our day, talk about what's next, talk about what's coming. Are we stressed about something? Are we excited about it or something? Do we have something cool happening? Right? This is that place for us. It's like that central meeting place where our extended family, you guys, we all get to hang out and interact, and we get to talk about our plans. And the cool thing about that is it's not just us telling you our plans. This is where we come up with our plans, right? Literally. We put things out to you guys, because you guys are the ones that matter as far as what we do and how we create our products, what we put out there, how we put them out there, what's coming next. Our product development roadmap is 100% based on feedback from this group right here. And so that's what it is. This is where we're completely transparent. We're vulnerable. We're open. We talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly, and we invite all of you to sit here at the table with us and do exactly that.
Absolutely. That's beautiful. And I lied. I have two more questions for you. First one is, so Nick, and we're going to talk about you on the follow-up question, but real quick, and oftentimes she will join us on the stream. But this lovely human right here on my side, Miss Jillian Phillips, aka Jill. Who is Jill and what does she mean to the Dr. Nick's Amazing Man Stuff company?
Well, on top of being the missing link to just about every part of my life that had a missing link as my lovely wife, she not only tolerates me and encourages me for better or for worse. I don't know if that's a good thing or if she should stop that or not. She is the backbone of Dr. Nick. So you guys see me on camera, you see my name everywhere. I'm on the website. The real brains behind the operation here is my co-owner and wife, Jill. She handles all things production, all things formulation, customer service, packing, shipping. She runs all of those pillars that stand up this business. It wouldn't exist without her. You guys would not have nearly the shipping speed or response to emails that you have right now without her. That's typically her first thing in the morning, getting back to emails and cranking out orders. So everything from formulation, production, order fulfillment, that is all Jill. So if there's someone that you want to, get on the good side of to get some free stuff, and you're trying to butter someone up for something special, and Jill's going to be the tree that you want to go barking up.
Absolutely. And I will say, I don't know if this comment was for me or not, but hey, I'm just kidding. But I will say too, I consider myself a beard product, a beard ingredient nerd, and I love to dive deep on stuff. And I have a lot of unique experiences with all my different things that I do. It's rare that I find someone that really understands stuff and that I learn from on a super regular basis. And Jill is 100% one of those people, one of the very few, whether it's essential oils that I don't know anything about, whether it's new carriers, whether it's development processes, and so much. I'm constantly learning from Jill on that side of things. I'm constantly learning from Nick on the back end stuff, on the organizing, and Nick and I have just kind of a freakish relationship where we're always on the same page. And when you talk about like people like finishing sentences and stuff like every single day in a kind of crazy way. So
times I pick up my phone to text you about something and I was like, there's Dan actually answering the question that I was about to ask him in a text message.
It's crazy. We did it. We had a meeting with Jill and Sam the other day too, and we did it like in that meeting, and they're like, "Huh?"
It was like kind of funny. Both of our wives were like,
"Yeah, I know." I'm like, "This is just normal for us. Normal for us."
Yeah.
But the last
normal
question.
Friday stuff.
Yes. The last question I have, and I would like you to step out of your comfort zone and speak about yourself for a second here, because I find that a lot of people should know how wildly interesting you are, from the different businesses that you have, the different experiences and hobbies that you have, just because I think the way you do anything is the way you do everything. And for people to kind of understand that diversity of experience and knowledge, it's so applicable to this company. So real quick, talk about some of the business experiences, the hobbies, the interests, that kind of stuff, in the best way you want to put it.
Oh man. All right. So, I'm a wildly distracted, but at the same time, sort of a hyper-focused person, I guess. So I guess there's some people out there that say that you're either like an inch wide and a mile deep on one thing, or you're kind of a mile wide, inch deep, or inch wide, mile deep, right? You're either focused or you're very, very broad. I think people have told me a lot that I'm about a mile wide and about a mile deep on most things inside that mile. And so, if you kind of look at today, I manage and co-own a cybersecurity consulting company, another cybersecurity focused software development company with a distributed team across the country and offshore in a couple other countries, along with a wood shop that lives downstairs that I co-own with my friend Tom, which is Bigfoot Slabs. And of course, my pride and joy and favorite place to spend my time, which is Dr. Nick's. In addition to those things, hobbies, right? I'm a metalhead, so I'm into any and all things music. Although I focus on kind of that as where I focus most of my music interest. I'm kind of into everything. I play guitar. I'm a photographer. On top of kind of a bunch of other ancillary sort of hobbies. I'm a bit of a data scientist and a visualization person when it comes to data structure with AI machine learning models. And, when I'm not touching something digital or one of these businesses, you'll find me doing something outside, riding electric skateboards, paddle boarding, doing something or anything that's on or close to water. On top of being in the woods, mountain biking, or wrenching on cars. So kind of mechanic, musician, photographer, entrepreneur, so sort of all over the place, but, somehow staying focused where it counts all at the same time whenever as best I can.
Yeah, definitely. And I'll say his passion, like, squarely lies on creating beard products and creating a community surrounding this company and stuff. He truly does a lot, but really has a passion for everything Dr. Nick's related.
It is. So that's the funny part about it, right? Is that I think a lot of the other stuff, I do a lot of the things I do out of necessity, right? You kind of get yourself into certain grooves, and that's sort of things present themselves in those paths, regardless if you look for them or not. But where I am constantly looking for something to do, and I'm like looking forward to something to do in product development, I not only is Dr. Nick's a huge passion of mine, but it's also a giant stress relief for me, right? It's even when there's problems, even when there's challenges, they're fun problems, they're fun challenges. They contribute to something that's artistic and creative and cool. It's most of the other things I do. This is where I think I'll close with this. I think is hyper relevant for today, which is everything else I do in life. If I do my job well, no one knows I've done it at all, right? No one's ever talked about how good your cybersecurity engineer is because you've never had a breach. Only people talk about them is when they suck because you guys got hacked, right? You don't hear about the good stuff on cybersecurity. So you transition to something like this, where exactly what we're talking about today, which is validation and customer feedback from you guys are what make this what I look forward to doing. Like, I've never done anything before in my life that has this kind of feedback from the people that I do it for. And it's the most rewarding thing I've ever spent my time doing, second to being a husband and a father. It's the most rewarding thing I've ever done. And it's because of you guys. And it's because of the topic that we're here to talk about today.
Exactly. And that's beautiful. That's beautiful. And hey, guys, just a general reminder as you guys came in and as you're watching, if you like the vibes, if you like the channel, if you like supporting a small, family owned, family operated American company, hit that thumbs up on the stream for us. And with that topic, community feedback. Came up with this plan because I knew there was going to be a lot of community feedback last night on Command's Corner. There's just so many passionate customers and friends and family members of this company, and people are proud to talk about it, proud to share their experiences, and especially all the things that make Dr. Nick's different that I highlighted on the show last night. One of them being that it's all natural, right? A lot of people love that even the fragrances are all essential oils. People love that there's long form transparency with talking about every aspect of the company and breaking it down. It's so cool to see that. So I will kick it off to you, Nick, to kind of begin, and I'll be bouncing in and out when it seems needed. But started off with just kind of general your thoughts on community feedback, which you did. How does Dr. Nick's use it? What do you look for? What do you value? Wherever you want to take this to begin, community, the value of community feedback.
Oh man, it's one of those topics where it's almost hard to figure out, where to start with it.
Right.
Because there's like the internal part of it, right? So I'll talk about that for a minute, like I kind of just did, which is, as someone running a business, you do what you do because you want to make people happy, right? You want people to like what you produce. And we all know that bad news travels faster than good news, right? It's just kind of human nature. But the fact that you guys take the time out of your day to either send us an email or to answer one of our automated emails asking for a review on a product from Judge Me, it's huge. I mean, it's the wind in our sails. Like, when Jill and I have a rough day, like, this is something that I'd love to call out, right? This is literally what I do when I'm having a bad day now and I need to get my head straight and get back motivated and stop thinking about negative crap and start getting my head feeling positive again. I'll go open up YouTube and watch the comments on our videos and on Dan's videos, and just see the things people are saying. And it literally does kind of make you all of a sudden realize whatever you're doing, whatever you're stressed about, whatever's happening, it's worth it, right? And so just from a personal standpoint, it means a lot to me, and it means a lot to Jill, that you guys take the time out of your day to say the things that you say about us. And especially when it's, the positive stuff that you guys feed back to us. I guess the second part of it that you kind of touched on there, Dan, which was, how do we use it? Like, what do we do with it? We have not had to, well, I won't say we haven't had to at all, because there's been some surprises that we've come up with, I suppose. But if you look at the most recent introductions to the product lines, from merch to the style of merch to the types of things that the merch is printed on, and if you look at some of our new product releases that have come out already, or ones that are coming out, those were all based on community feedback. Like, you guys are our product development engine, right? I mean, we very rarely do something in a vacuum where we're like, all right, let's come up with something. What is it? What are we going to do that's different and cool that people want? We have a constant list of those things from you guys. And so it does a few things, right? I mean, it helps feed fuel the fire, the creative fire that we need to be able to create new products and stay current and bring new, interesting things to the market. But what it also does is it lowers the risk for us in a lot of ways, right? Because when you do something just sitting around a conference table internally in front of a whiteboard coming up with some things, you kind of have to wonder to yourself, like, are people going to like this? Like, is this something people want? Like, should we put much money and time and effort into this? And we don't really have those worries so much, because when we're developing products based on customer feedback, right, we don't really have to worry about if that's something you guys are going to want or not, because it's something you guys have requested. So it helps relieve the stresses with coming out with new products. It helps relieve some of the burden of the time spent doing that. And it ensures that our community, our audience, which is who we care about, are getting what they want from us. So, from a personal standpoint, that's one thing, but just from a business and product development standpoint, I mean, that's another.
For
And
sure.
what's interesting is I was actually gonna, there's some really cool Instagram comments that have come out lately that Dan kind of has track of, and we can probably share some of those. And then I was gonna kind of dive in and just share for you guys some of the things that you've said coming back to us in our review platform too. I was gonna share some of that with you guys today.
Perfect.
And also, I have a short list kind of created here, and we're going to be doing it. But it's the perfect time to announce our kind of new initiative here, and we'll have the first one released this Friday. But I'm going to be doing a quick reel every week on Instagram, where I pick the review of the week from the previous week. And so it's going to go kind of Sunday to Saturday kind of a thing, right? And the following Friday to that, I'm going to read a customer review, giving the person credit who wrote it. And I'll be reading that on Instagram as the review of the week. And we're going to send a special surprise out to the person who gets selected as the review of the week every week, free of charge. So one, just to say thank you for taking the time out to write a review that was impactful and meant something to us and maybe turned our day around. And it's also a great way to encourage people to leave to leave feedback, right? And so those of you who do already, we appreciate it, and you'll be getting the benefit of this. And I'm probably going to go back a few weeks, and I might even have a couple review of the weeks going back a few weeks for the first couple,
Cool.
So there might be multiples, and then going forward, once we get caught up, it'll be kind of a weekly thing. So just as a fun way to sort of engage and to reward you guys for again taking the time. I know it's an investment to sit there and type something out.
For sure.
So it's a great way for us to say thank you, and a great way for us to just encourage more of that same kind of activity and get you guys a cool benefit for doing it.
Yeah. And I agree with what you're saying. And then Donald's almost piggybacking, like you said, it takes effort to do that. It takes like an extra step to leave positive feedback, because we buy things expecting them to be great. We don't buy things being like, I think this is going to suck. Let me try it. You buy it because you hear great things. And then when it meets your expectations, you're like, awesome, it should have. And we just don't naturally go to it. But when you buy something and it doesn't live up to what you expect, we're immediate to go bash and go leave a negative review. And you feel better about yourself. And it's this weird human nature that is a little bit backwards. So when you start to get that positive feedback that comes in, that is truly, truly amazing to hear. And yeah, I mean, as Ruben says, it's like listening to customers works well. Well, yeah, customers are the one that are buying, that are supporting, that are keeping the business going. So,
dude, I just don't get. Yeah, exactly, Ruben. To your point, and I'm going to read a couple of your reviews, by the way, because they've been fantastic, and I really, really appreciate them.
Yep.
And like, it's almost like you knew we were doing this giveaway, stacking the deck with 5 reviews in a week. What a dude. Just, right out of the gate, Ruben's just been such a huge supporter. He's new to us, and we've done our best to show him the Dr. Nick's difference. He's seen it, he feels it, and he's taken the time to tell us about it, which has been fantastic. And here's some that, loaded up from Instagram here. Like, seeing this kind of stuff again, I mean, just imagine making something, right? And then seeing people say these sorts of things about it, like, immediately became my favorite oil. Wow. Also feels like I only need to use half as much as other oils. Like, that's huge. Yeah. Like, better and more cost effective typically do not go together very often. And whenever we can deliver value and quality that's a step above the rest, that's what you want to see as a business owner, right? I mean, those are the things where you're like, ooh, here we go.
Yep, absolutely.
And then, I mean, number 9. Well, what was that last one? What was that comment there? I'll keep going here in a minute, but I want to see that. 2 big reasons why your company is one of my favorites. You give back to your local community and listen to and care about your customers. The product is incredible too, of course. So that's awesome, right? I mean, the last part, you can't have the rest of the good stuff without having that last part, right? You got to have a good product. It's got to be quality. People have to believe in it. But once you have that, what sets you apart, right? Like, what are you going to do with that? Like, what are you going to turn that into a soapbox and stand on it somehow? And that's what we decided to do with it, man. I mean, we wanted this to be community driven. We wanted it to be, we wanted this to feel like a community owned business. Like, you guys influence this just as much as we do. And that's the kind of vibe that we've been going for. And it feels like that's what we're getting, which is amazing. And then giving back to the community, you have to do it. You have to give to get, and you have to be able to show your appreciation somehow and let other people benefit from something that works, right? Mm-hmm. You can't be grabby and just keep everything to yourself. You got to find a way to spread the love.
For sure. And the other comment in the back there is that there have been so many that have been like this from people that have tried tons and tons of brands, and they say things like, best oil I've used. Like, that's a huge statement. And then the shampoo and conditioner, magical, not great, not awesome, magical. Like, that has to hit hard.
Dude, it hits super hard. And, I guess I said, I used the words validation earlier, and, I don't want to sound too 2023 talking about validation too much, but those are validating statements in the sense that, I don't know, we have some new people here today, and you guys might not know this, but we didn't start Dr. Nick's with the intention of what can we do with a beard oil company that's different. We didn't make our initial blend of carrier oils because we even wanted to start selling beard products. I made these products out of necessity back in 2015 when I started getting some length to my beard and nothing else worked for me. And I couldn't use fragrance oils because I'm allergic to them. And so I had to go the essential oil-based route. And that led me down this path of everything else being all natural. And if we did washes and body washes and shampoos and soaps and face washes, those all had to be oil-based, non-detergent, focused cleansers and washes and conditioners. And so what I mean by it's validating is that I thought to myself that I couldn't be the only person with these problems, right? And that's why we started making these and bringing them out to the market. And so hearing people say things like this lets me know that I was on track there, right? I wasn't the only one with this, with these problems. And even if you're not allergic to fragrance oils, the benefits that your skin is going to get from using an all natural product that doesn't have anything harsh in it, even if you can tolerate it, are going to be immense. You're going to see benefit whether or not you need it from like a medical standpoint or not, right? And so I think there's people who need it, and therefore we are kind of the only option out there that is a fully plant-based, fully natural product line with no artificial anything. And then the people who don't need that but appreciate it still get to realize the benefits.
For sure. And I'll touch on Angel's comment right here. And it goes with exactly what you just said with that story. And he said, I've always appreciated Dr. Nick's support of the general beard community, including other beard product companies. I appreciate that there's no stepping on others to try and raise themselves. And if you guys, as you noticed there with Nick, he talked about the origin story, and he's talked about it in much more detail before, where he was trying these other companies' products. He loved the way they smelled. He loved the art, loved so many aspects about them, and tells people all the time, hey, if you want something that's strong, if you want something that's leather, there's other great options out there for you. It just didn't work for him. Nothing else is lesser. Nothing is worse. It's just a situational preference kind of thing. And there's a great thing to have a rotation and have a balance of all of them. I love working with this company, but I've never had any flack from Nick for like loving other products and loving other companies and stuff. And that's what's beautiful. You don't have to say, I am the best because we're better than everybody else. You can say, I think we have the best product because I love it. I use it. I've heard it. And other people have great products as well. And I do think that's important, because I'm so not a fan of people trying to bring themselves up by putting others down. You don't have to do that. You just simply don't have to do it.
No, and I think if you need to speak to someone else's faults to talk about your benefits, then your benefits might not be that measurable without being compared to those faults. And, you know, and in my mind here, this is like a simple equation, right? Like if everyone's an equal playing field, right? Let's just assume for a minute, even though we know it's not, there are a lot who are, but so let's assume everyone is an even playing field. Everyone's got quality products. They're all awesome. They all have great things about them, right? And now consider talking about your benefits. Okay, everyone else is great. This is all good stuff. Here's how we're a little different, and here's why I think we have value that maybe you should check out. So now look at where you end up when you elevate yourself in saying what you just said. Now, if you need to deprecate somebody and cut them down in order to then build yourself up, aren't you just putting yourself back up at that same level playing field that you started at? Like you're chopping someone down and then you're measuring yourself from there. Why would you want to do that? Why would you want to measure yourself? Why wouldn't you want to pick the best company out there who's, you got the normal playing field, then you got this guy, and then talk about how you think you have some uniquenesses above that one, but talk about his benefits because that builds him up, right? If anything, if you're ever going to talk about another product, talk about why it's awesome, talk about why it's cool, talk about why it's successful, why people like it. And then if all those things are true, why someone might also like you and maybe find some benefit about what you do above the person that you just highlighted as what you think being the best. I would 1000% always build someone up before comparing myself to them. Then I would tear them down before comparing ourselves to them. That's just the way my brain works, in an equation of where you land in that conversation and where the perception then puts you, right? And I think if anything, much less thinking other products are bad, I'm jealous of people who can use some of these products out there that I like and couldn't use. Like there's some stuff out there where, again, I love their art. Like, dear God, you look at Fable and you look at some of the stuff they do with their artwork and the way that they come up with it and their artist that makes that stuff. Like that dude is cool. Amazing. Awesome product formulation process. And unfortunately, my skin just doesn't like it, or else you'd see me having that in my rotation as well, because I love what they do, and I'm a geek, so I dig the lore and everything else that they build into their story. And so, I mean, there aren't many other Instagram DMs that you can look through and actually see recommendations for other companies when people ask for it, right? And when someone comes to Dan and asks for a recommendation and I talk to him about it and he says, oh yeah, I referred so-and-so to him, I never get frustrated and say, well, why didn't you try to, this and this and this, get them to come this way? It might not have been what they were looking for. Absolutely. Dan's brand is based around transparency and good advice. And for me to fault him for doing that and actually responding to people on his channel about things that aren't us. Like when we talk daily, those things do not come up for me as a bad thing at all. Like
Yeah.
it's
We
keeping
actually,
things transparent and level.
yeah. We actually talked the opposite right before the stream. We were talking about that and how I have to be honest and I have to be open and transparent or I lose everything. And yeah, it's awesome. And I know you're going to have some reviews you want to show, but I got a question for you. I'm going to answer my own question and then kick it to you. But the question is, and I know there's probably lots, but straight off the top of your head, and I'll give you mine. Were there any comments and feedback last night on Command's Corner that really hit you and really stood out to you? There's tons and tons. For example, for me, there were several people, including Leo, who's in the chat right now, that commented last night. And again, these are people that have tried multiple companies. They have no incentive to say these things. There's no reason for them to share the feedback. But several people commented about this oil, about the products, changing their beard for the better, changing the appearance, changing the thickness, changing the density. Nothing that Dr. Nix has ever claimed or tried to push in any way, shape, or form, but just on their own, just observing, spending their own money, saying things that I believe it has changed my beard. That one really hit me because I don't know when I've heard that, especially from multiple people in the same stream. I don't know if that hit you or you caught that one, but for me, those comments really stood out to me.
Dude, those were huge ones. And so I'm going to talk about a couple of types of comments that got me last night.
Perfect.
But I'm also going to talk about a persona or a type of person making comments that got me last night.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean.
So you and I have been working together for just about a year, and we've been watching Command's Corner for a while before that, right? And it's easy to tell, in a list of people in a chat, like who literally is someone who's tried damn near everything out there and it does not hold punches. Like someone like, oh, I like this owner, but I'm not a big fan of the product, and here's why, and so and so. And I remember early on, probably about a year ago, I remember watching Command's Corner with Jill and sitting there going, man, if we ever do something right enough that can get this guy or that guy or someone like this guy to say good things about our brand, then the sky is our limit. And last night I saw that happen, right? And I don't want to name names because I don't want to not say someone's name and have them think that I don't think of them that way. But there are a number of people that were in last night that are in here today where when I heard positive feedback come back from them, it was a huge compliment because I know that they are very critical people who know what they like, they know what quality is, and they're experienced, right? They've tried just about everything out there. And so hearing those people say, now what is my second point of the type of comment, say things like, this is all I use now, or this oil is hands down the best. If you haven't tried it, you're doing yourself a disservice. And hearing those voices of experience and what I think other people in the chat look to as people that they can trust the opinion of and that they're well regarded in the community.
Yep.
And having you actually advocate our products to other people in the community, it's so much more powerful than it is coming from us. And it was it's a huge compliment. And I'll call one of them out, Leo. I feel like, you have an interesting outlook with people, right? Where you want to give people a chance and you want to give people the opportunity to prove themselves right or wrong. And I feel like you're a logical guy who maintains much neutrality going into any new relationship. And you leave it up to that person to take it in a positive or a negative direction. And it's how they answer your questions, and it's how they get back to you. It's how they provide guidance, and it's how they take your feedback, right? And I feel like that then lands whoever that is into a positive light or a negative light with you. And knowing that, I'm going out on a limb here. I don't know you personally, but I'd say you're a pretty black and white guy who starts things off really fair, and it's up to the person you're dealing with of which way they take it. Knowing that we took it in the direction that we have and have landed on this side of your opinion, it's a huge compliment, dude. And so, and it's stuff like that who comes from people in this community where it's just like your words, sometimes you don't realize the weight of them. But even me seeing it and then having other people see it, it's just so powerful.
It really is. And to piggyback, G Squared said Leo is such an understated, much needed, amazing part of the community in chat. Couldn't agree more. Yeah, couldn't agree more. And I don't know how long I've been knowing Leo. It's got to be years now, and it's awesome. And I want to talk about this comment for a second because I think this hits home perfectly. And I'll give you my own analogy. He said, "You show confidence in your products by supporting others." Whew, dang, what a line. And it said, I remember a major product owner saying, if you use products, you'll get to using his. And for me, I've always said this, and I've even been mocked for saying it, and that's okay. People will do that. And
Mhm.
I really believe that when we have the high tide, all ships rise, right? All ships rise with the high tide. And I do believe that because there's two ways you can look at it. For me, as someone that's a content creator, I can see other content creators that have more followers, more views, more interactions, more whatever the measurable is, money, whatever it is. And I could see that and I could be bummed out and be like, well, I think my content's better. I think I work harder. I think I deserve more, and then get down on myself. Well, what's that going to get me? Likely not much. That's going to get me into a bad spot. I'm not going to work. I'm going to be making excuses. I'm going to be blaming people. But when I see someone that has better numbers than me, that has more success than me, all I think about is, yeah, go kill it. The more people you bring in, eventually they're going to find me. And I think that's amazing. It does well for you, does well for me. Same here, right? We know Fable, as we mentioned, has a beautiful community, massive community that they've brought in. All that does for this beard community and beard product companies as a whole is it's introducing people into this beard industry. There's so many beards out there that have never tried products. There's even more beards that have never tried quality products. And if we can get them introduced with something that's going to be enjoyable, the chances of them going and trying to find other products skyrocket and go through the
Oh
roof.
yeah.
And that's so good for everyone. And that is like one of the best well-written comments I've seen. And it like radiates through my soul. I really appreciate the wording there, Leo.
Yeah, you're dead on, Leo. And it's you can't be cocky, right? In this game. You can't say that like, okay, well, if you use products, eventually you're gonna try mine. It's like one of those things, right? Where we have to scratch and claw for our existence every single day, right? Every new customer of ours is a valued part of our community and family, and we treat them like that. And so I would never make the assumption that like, okay, yeah, we'll get everyone eventually, right? Because you just can't think like that,
Right.
right? You have to constantly prove your value and
Yeah.
and make sure people feel like what you're doing is worthwhile.
And to add on to that too, as a beard product company, if you see people supporting other companies, if you see people ordering from other companies, do not have a scarcity mindset, right? We talked about the value of community feedback. That isn't just for Dr. Nix. That's for the
Mm-mm.
community. And some companies and some company owners, some content creators go through a really bad mental state where if someone is purchasing, if somebody is complimenting somebody else, that's taking stuff off my plate. That's taking stuff off my table when that's not true. They can purchase from them. They can compliment them, and it does not hurt you at all. In fact, the chances of that coming back to you are even greater when that happens. So you
Oh,
got
for
to
sure.
leave the scarcity mindset and think that everything's a mountain and there's only a little peak at the top when everything is just this everlasting giant plateau where we can all party on.
Dude, absolutely. And it's just like kind of like what I've mentioned before in previous streams too. Without competition, there's no market.
Yeah.
Hey, later on, Whiskers and Whiskey. It's one of those things where, knocking your competition and wishing that they would go away is making a market smaller, right? You always want a large market to validate your business model, if nothing else, right? Without competition, it's like saying it's like without a cloudy day, how do you appreciate a sunny day kind of a
Yep.
thing, right? If you can't contrast to other stuff and you're just the only one there, which I feel like that's got to be the mindset or the goal that other people have when they're knocking other companies. They're like, well, I'm just going to make everyone not like these guys and they'll go away. Well, you've just reduced the market cap of your whole industry.
Yeah.
Like, why would you want to do that? It's not beneficial for anybody.
In exciting news, I didn't even talk to you about this. I just recently read a market study of the beard product industry, so dedicated beard products. In 2022, it was evaluated in the US alone at $130 million market. Thought that was
Mm-hmm.
cool. They project by 2025, it's going to be over a $700 million market.
Wow.
And
It's getting
yeah,
close to $1 billion market.
yes, yes, yes. Just in the matter of 5 years, from 130 million to over $700 million market. That
What was
just
that
shows
first date? What was that first year?
2020.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So it's exploding rapidly. I think it was Cisco maybe that put on the research there for the market analysis, but I saw
Wow.
that and I was like, holy crap, that's absolutely amazing. And especially with things like people want to always bash the government, but with the government getting more involved, it brings more legitimacy. It's more acknowledging that this market is for real and there's room for everybody. And everyone that's in it right now is still on the ground floor. When we're talking about 130 million and then a matter of just a couple of years it's going to be 700 million,
Dude.
this is the ground floor. Get on the elevator and everybody rise together.
Dude, G Squared just made a really good point by that, going off that exact same topic, right? If you always want to, so seriously listen to some of the great WWE legends in their interviews. They would always say that you have to build your opponents up. If there are no giants to slay, then what is the accomplishment? Dude, you're dead on. Like, why would you want to make someone sound like they suck and then go into a match with them and beat them? Like, you just beat someone who you said was easy to beat.
Right.
Like, you'd want to build that guy up and make it sound impossible. So when you do it, it looks like an accomplishment.
It's kind of, and somebody mentioned earlier, not to hit too close to home, but the Boston Bruins just had one of the most historic meltdowns in hockey history, where they had the best season in a very long time and then get bounced in the first round. I will say I called it on Instagram. I called both of the Game 7 series on Instagram. Somebody asked me in a question and I have the proof of it. But that's the same thing. Yeah, once you get up to that top and you've put everybody down, you're just expected to go on this course. Why don't you want somebody motivating you, inspiring you, pushing you, growing the market? And yeah,
that goes back
amazing.
to my favorite saying of all time: success is not final and failure is not fatal. Because just because you won doesn't mean you're going to keep winning. And just because you lost doesn't mean you can't turn around and win. Right?
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. So, Nick, we got about 7 minutes left here. However you want to end this, if you want to show some reviews, let's hit that. If you want to talk about more general stuff, let's go ahead and hit that. Whatever you think to end this with.
I turned into a fairy tale pumpkin right at 2:00 today too. The screen's going to go black.
Yep. We do got to get Nick out of here right on time today, guys.
Curtain down. So one of the things I think that stands out to me in reviews, and this is going to be one of the things that I talk about in the review of the week reels that we do, and some other stuff kind of coming out, is when we get people who fully just convert over, and depending on who it is, you can literally, so this is a funny little search. You can search for text inside our review console and you can look through them. And if I just type in the words "from now on," right? Random set of words to type. But for some reason in my head, I always feel good when I read it. So I searched for it. And it's 2 pages of just reviews where it's stuff like, tried many other oils and Dr. Nick seems to be the best. We'll continue to use this from now on. Looking forward to smelling the other scents in the future. Right? Like, imagine reading that as something that you've made, right? Is that whether you're making cars or you're making shoes or whatever you make, and someone says, I've driven lots of other cars, but all I'm ever going to buy from now on is XYZ brand of car, right? It doesn't matter what you do. That's going to make you feel good. Like another one here, best beard oil ever. And I think Dennis is in the chat today. Best beard oil ever. I will only be ordering from Dr. Nick's from now on. And this is somebody, by the way, who I have a friend who owns a restaurant, and his buddy Dennis has a beard, and his buddy Dennis was in there talking to me. He said, hey, have you checked out my friend's grooming company? They make beard products. And he did. He swung by the shop. We've since gone out to dinner with him and his girlfriend, and we've all hung out, and it's had great times. And now, this kind of feedback is coming back, right? Through a friend's third-party introduction. We're now his favorite beard products. You look at, here's another one from someone here in the chat with Garrett, right? The only beard conditioner you need. This conditioner is amazing, and it's so light, has great nourishment. My wife loves it. She's a licensed cosmetologist for the past 14 years. It's the only conditioner I will ever buy from now on. Like, that kind of feedback, again, is just huge. And then you get the opposite side of some of those. And I picked this one out where some people say it's the first product they had ever used, right? And it's opened their eyes to trying new things. And to Leo's comment, imagine some of the other brands getting a review where someone says, this is the first beard butter I've ever tried. It's opened up my eyes to beard butter. I love yours. Can't wait to try others. Now, if someone gets that review and they're of the mindset that we had before, where we were talking, you know, other owners might reply back to that review and be like, well, if you like ours, I suggest you stick with it because we're the best and the other ones are garbage and you're going to have this, this, and this, and this problem. I feel like we just opened somebody up, like Dan just talked about. We just added a new member to the beard community, right? We just got someone who wasn't a products guy. And now he's going to be out there exploring, finding more products and making his mind up for himself about which ones are his favorite and what he likes and he doesn't like. And hopefully he ends up coming back to us because he likes ours the best. And if he doesn't, hopefully we're at least in the rotation. And if we're not, individual preference is what it's all about. And we wish him the best of luck. And we're glad we opened the door for someone to start their beard product journey, right? I mean, it's just these lists go on, and it's gonna be hard to actually pick one a week, you know, because I look back through like this last week and it's, you know, amazing. It's like amazing stuff indeed is one of the comments. Wow. I had read a lot of reviews, watched some videos, and decided to try Dr. Nick's, and I'm glad I did. It really is amazing stuff. It's a thin oil, so my beard soaks it up. It's not like it's coating, which other companies seem to do, which is a nice change. The butter is great as well. Thin and easy to put in the beard, not tacky. I got the natural scent, but I think I'd like to try number 7 now that I know I like it. Hearing other people say that they like other companies, but haven't been able to use them because they're in a clinical setting and the scents are too strong. And they need something that they can enjoy in the morning when they're getting ready, but they're not going to kick the door down when they walk into an operating room and wake someone up out of anesthesia because the smell is so strong. It's like smelling salts under their face, right? I mean, it's those kinds of things that are just huge for us. And so when we hear things like, this is what I'm going to buy from now on, or I've tried a lot of other products and this one works better for me, or we solved a problem, like I was having this or this problem with my beard, I couldn't track it down. I tried your product with unscented. The problems went away. I then tried one of your essential oil-based fragrances and the problem has stayed away. That lets us know that our mission statement, the reason we started all of this, the reason we're doing what we're doing is for a good, valid reason that's helping people the same way it helped me.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Those are beautiful. It's amazing. And there's so many, so many of them.
I mean, it is. It's literally, it's been an outpouring over the past, you know, really over the past year since we, and honestly, if I can mark the improvement, like, you know, we're talking about marketing, right? And we talk about, we obviously, and I'll wrap it up with this, but we talked about how it impacts the rest of our business. And we talked about how we're not going to do Instagram ads. We're not going to do Facebook ads really, because that's where our community lives. We want to nurture our communities on those platforms. We don't necessarily want to get them from those platforms. Now you look at Google search and other things that you need to do as a business to protect your brand and get new people seeing it, right? Where I'm starting to create some of the collateral that's going to become the basis for those ads. And guess what it is? Nothing I wrote. It's all your feedback.
Yep.
The only marketing that I'm going to write is literally copying and pasting review text into ads for trust marks and showing live stream comments and showing these reviews. So not only are you our product development, you're the wind in our sails that keep us going with your encouragement. You're our community, you're our family. You are also now our marketing engine, right? All we're doing to amplify our message is literally that. We're taking what you've said and showing it to new people and introducing and hopefully bringing them in to this community. So hopefully you see some new faces and hopefully they're here because of the things you said.
Yep. And to end with this too, I can say this, Dr. Nick's, I get to see how much they give back in appreciation for that. They know what you guys do for this company. They know what you do for the community. So they do wild giveaways. They do donations to the homeless. They do giveaways on these shows. They send out free products randomly to customers that have ordered a few orders in a row. And they're like, hey, I noticed this person didn't have a conditioner. Let me throw this in so they can try it out. And that's all because of that appreciation and gratitude for you guys. So we do got to get Nick out of here. But next week, guys, same place, same time, 1 p.m. Eastern. We hope that you guys are going to be here. Something a little bit different. Get to know Nick a little bit on another side of things. Can't wait to be there. Nick, go ahead and send them off.
Oh, man, just thanks for being here today. Thanks for being there last night to all of you guys that were there and just saying the things you said to the larger community about us. And I'm pumped to see you guys next week. And just the power of customer feedback is you guys. You literally fuel every single side of our business. We wouldn't be here without you. And this stream was for you to say thank you. So thanks for watching. Thanks for being here. And we'll see you again next week.
All right. Bye, guys.